Nerd talk time. All right. So we're starting off the nerd talks with Civil War because it's almost time to see the movie. But first off, I wanna just kind of break down why I'm excited. Um, if you ever read the Civil War comics, it was huge. I mean, that was all any of us fought about, and I mean like really fought about in our comic book shops for months. Um, I'm a third generation nerd, which means it came down to a fight between me and family. My my father was quite erroneously to Team Stark. Like, no, obviously I'm the smart child. So anyway, it was huge. It was really, really big, and that led to a lot of concerns for people that were following the MCU, and we're like, wait, 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 we're doing what on film? But they've actually done a really fantastic job, and here's why. Let's take the two teams we have. In the comic books, it really was huge. You're talking about universe-wide event. You're talking teams that each individual character might have had their own comic book explaining how they exactly fit into the Civil War and their feelings on it. That was a big deal. Not so much in the MCU. In the MCU, they very carefully distilled things down to two people. You have Captain and you have Stark. And one of the reasons I'm so excited about this, one of the reasons that it seems to work so well, is how they have handled kind of scaling everything down. You know, I've complained before because instead of Age of Ultron, we kind of got the long weekend of Ultron. But if you look at that movie as a stepping stone, which it really is, it's a lot easier to understand why we have Ultron in the form, emasculated as it is, that we do. Because what we start off with Tony. Let's start with him because I really love the evolution of this character. We took a character instead of him being an alcoholic playboy, we have the playboy aspect still. But now we have a control freak. You take the vice from alcohol to control, and you have the perfect catalyst. From the very beginning, Tony Stark's only reason for being Iron Man is that he's a control freak. You start off with the first movie, oh shit, I've been blown up, but I got this. I'm gonna build a suit, and I'm gonna get out of this. But, oh wait, there's other shit happening. I got this. I've got my suit, I'll make it better, and hey, flashy colors makes it even better, because Playboy. And I've got this. Oh shit, it was my best friend. Sorta. I got this. Second movie. I'm dying, but I got this. And then the first Avengers movie happens. And for the first time, Tony has to realize, oh shit, I ain't got this. There are variables here I did not even think to consider, because the control freak, as intelligent as he believes himself to be, and he is an intelligent man, did not think, oh shit, not only are there aliens out there, because okay, I expected a couple ETs, maybe, you know, a couple dudes in tights. There's universe worth of aliens, and they're all way more technologically advanced. And oh shit, they're invading. This is a man that's been blown up. This is a man that's been chemically poisoned. This is a man that has been through wars and shrapnel and bullshit. And it's not until after finding out that not only are you not in control, you were never in control to begin with, that he develops PTSD. He's been through so much shit, but finding out that he could not have predicted how things would turn out with the Avengers, is what sends him over the edge. He starts having panic attacks. He starts having nightmares. He literally thinks he's poisoned because a control freak is having PTSD symptoms. He is very bluntly being faced with, you are not in control. So at the end of the third Iron Man movie, he's like, okay, I give in. I'm giving up. I'm not Iron Man anymore. And then the second Avengers movie. I will be the first to complain about fucking with Scarlet Witch. I will, because I love her. She's not only a powerful mutant, she's a sorceress. And that's one of the great things about Marvel is they have very easily melded the two worlds. You can have mutants that are also into arcane arts. And that's really what Scarlet Witch was. I mean, I don't want to go into the OP of House of M, but her original power was affecting probability, which in itself is pretty awesome, but hard to capture on film. Then you add the sorcery in. Sorcery is very difficult. If you have something like affecting probabilities, hey, guess what? That hand gesture that is next to impossible to get, you got it. So she's very, very powerful in the comics. In the movies, they give her more of like a let me show you your fears type power. And that, of course, affects Tony with, you could have done more. You were the only one that could have done more. You should have been in control. Which, of course, leads to Ultron, which is Tony's biggest fuck up ever. Which very easily leads into him going into Civil War with, hey guys, I'm just a playboy, philanthropist, billionaire genius, and here I am, and I fucked shit up. We should probably register everyone, just in case they fuck up. Because if I, the greatest of all geniuses, fucked up, you know, even if they're trying to do good, everyone else could fuck up too. We should register them. Keep an eye on things. Control it. And then you have Captain America. And I have railed on characters like Steve Rogers before. Characters that their backstories almost seem lazy. Because you have a very clear human motivation for Tony to be a hero. He's a control freak. That's a human reason. Steve Rogers, though, the reason he's a hero is because it's what he needs to be. He needs to be useful. Deep in his little patriotic soul, all he cares about is happiness and freedom. And he would do literally anything to ensure that, to the point of undergoing extremely experimental injections. All he wants is to be a useful tool for freedom and happiness. And, you know, he is Captain America, but that is because he believes in the tenets of America the Free, pursuit of happiness. And there are actually times in the comics when he drops the America. He's just the captain. He's like, look, if America isn't about freedom, I'm not about America. He is very simple. In fact, he is probably the most morally straightforward character that Marvel has ever had. Because Marvel loves humanity. They love our flaws. They love our convoluted reasoning, and they throw it into every comic they have. And they've done a good job of converting Captain to both modern times and the MCU. So you have World War II that he lived through. In reality, most soldiers in World War II had no idea about the atrocities of the Holocaust. They were just fighting the Germans. But us, in this day and age, we go into a movie, especially a movie about a comic book hero that involves World War II, and we're like, yeah, he's kicking Nazi ass, saving everyone. we never see Captain America like run into a containment camp. We never see him witness the atrocities of the Holocaust, but we have the knowledge of those happening. And we know that after Rogers wakes up in modern times, he'll know of them as well. And one of my favorite questions about Captain America is everyone's like, well, how do you think he felt waking up, seeing, homosexual relationships and LGBT just being accepted? Dude, he was ecstatic. Because that's what Steve Rogers stands for. He really does 100% believe freedom. If it makes you happy, if it doesn't hurt anyone else, if you are doing what's right for you and for those you love, go for it. So after living through World War II, and then even better, going through Hydra being in S.H.I.E.L.D., having, his best friend, Bucky, is just being used by the bad guys. He has more reason than ever to reiterate that idea of holding a gun to everyone's head and calling it security might give you a measure of safety, but it's not freedom. Because choice and the ability to choose is more important to him than whether or not your choice is bad. Because he does not believe you are a bad guy or you have done bad things until you choose to do so. And that's despite the hatred for it, why Bucky is also a good catalyst for Civil War. Because here you have someone that has done bad things. And our trailers so far, I love them to death. He's my friend. I thought I was your friend. The bromance is strong. But what it comes down to is what Rogers is really defending is Bucky didn't have a choice. He didn't get to choose to be a good guy or a bad guy before he was free of Hydra's control. That is why Bucky's kind of being used as a central point so far, at least from what we've seen in the trailers. I'm hoping that I get to come back after seeing the movies and make a huge addendum to this video. But you have it very perfectly distilled. You have Captain on one side going, no, you can't just register people good and bad and control what and when they do things. If someone needs saving, I'm going to do it. Even if it is the next Hitler that I'm saving, I'm going to save them because they haven't made that choice yet. They haven't walked that path. And then there's Stark going, but if we know everything, if we just know everything, because hey, we have Vision now. He's like super smart. We think he can read minds. If we know everything, we can just like stop stuff before it happens. And then we have a Minority Report situation, but it's perfect in that you have these two teams that in the comic book world were huge, and we've distilled it down to two central points. This is perfect for your average moviegoer, those that never read the comics, that don't really want to read the comics. They can just go to this movie and they can mentally pick teams throughout the movie. They can be on whichever side they want, although Cap's the right side. And they can be on the edge of their seats, kind of wondering who's gonna win this war. Except that's kind of my problem. I am worried. Like, so far, I've been so ecstatic. I've been so excited. I've watched as these movies have kind of funneled down toward this central point. And here we are. It's beautiful. It's been simplified, but not so much as to be idiotic. It is just beautifully brought together in this linear kind of pattern. Here's what Cap went through. Here's what Tony went through. This is why they're here and they're butting heads. It's perfect, except in the comics, Peter Parker revealing himself as Spider-Man was a big deal, because that was the one thing Peter Parker would never do. He still let himself get shoved into lockers and picked on, because even though he could kick their ass, he would never risk his friends and his family by revealing his alternate identity. So standing up and saying, I'm Peter Parker, I'm Spider-Man, was a big deal. And I'm really worried that having Spider-Man in the Civil War now, it might be a nice nod, but if they try to use him as the linchpin he was in the comics, it's gonna fall flat. This is our third Spider-Man, Tom Holland, never heard of him. And here we are. If he's gonna be our linchpin, I don't think we will have the emotion necessary for it to be a big deal. And worse, I'm very concerned that there will be no conclusion to Civil War. I am somewhat convinced that they might instead choose to leave Civil War unfinished and go straight into Infinity War. And guess what? If they do that, if there is no end to Civil War, the end of the first Infinity War movie, Cap dies. That's it. That's the end of the first movie. That is my prediction. And my greatest fear. I really do fear that there will be no end to Civil War. And instead they'll just be like, oh, Thanos showed up. Okay. Rain check. And I feel like 4 nerds and 4 moviegoers promising us this big fight and creating something as big and as almost personal as legislation and control versus freedom and possible chaos. If you don't give us an ending, a lot of people are kind of going to be disappointed. But I'm hoping that in, a week, 2 weeks, I can kind of check in whenever I get to see the movie and be like, it was awesome! Or I will sign in looking like this. And then we will nerd rant instead of nerd talk. Anyway, I would appreciate comments. This was kind of chaotic. Technically speaking, my nerd talk goes a lot better when I have people talking at me so I can bounce off of them. For me to just ramble, not the best idea. But I'm hoping that soon I'll be able to follow up this video with something better that says, hey, I really liked the movie. It was awesome. All my fears were unjustified. However, we might not end up there. So I will check in later.